gentlemen, it is time to step onto the ice for some biscuits and penalties. I'm Cobra, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Alex. Say hello, man.
Hello.
All right. Sports fans, if you know, you know, playoff hockey is coming up around the corner. We are already ending March. We're getting closer to April. And if you know one thing about hockey season, playoff hockey begins in April. And already seeing some cannon fodder being sent to the winds. The Philadelphia Flyers officially eliminated from the playoffs today, especially after firing head coach John Tortorella 2 days ago. The Sabres were eliminated. They played against the Flyers, but they were eliminated long ago. We had some other playoff eliminations happening tonight. Utah has a chance to be eliminated today. They only have a 0.8% chance of retaining. And the Blue Jackets and the Red Wings, they're fighting for their playoff lives. Alex, anything you want to add to this? I'm pretty sure you've got something.
Yes, we have one big playoff clincher scenario as the Dallas Stars are looking to claim the playoff spot. All they have to do is beat the Kraken, and one of two things needs to happen. The Blues lose to the Avalanche, and the Flames lose to the Oilers. But unfortunately, the Blues beat the Avalanche earlier today, so they're rooting for the Oilers tonight to get in that playoff spot as they are right behind the Jets in their conference.
Right, and as we both know, the Jets have been nothing but wildfire ever since the beginning of the season even happened. Connor Hellebuck was already penciling his name into, I repeat, to the Vezina Trophy. So it's not like destiny wasn't coming, because clearly we both knew that, hey, Hellebuck was going to do what he was going to do. And hey, which, by the way, I already asked this before. I mean, but I think it's a little bit redundant to even ask this, if which playoff team was surprised. Here's what I'm going to do. Alex, you have the list of the playoff eliminated teams in front of you, don't you?
Yes.
All right. Can you rattle them off for me from lowest record to highest record? Because what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in the scenario of a top 5 overall draft pick. Okay. And basically just the eight lowest teams. We're gonna rattle them off because the top 8 as far as draft order is concerned can always be shuffled around because of the draft lottery. 8 and 1 can always get switched around more often than not. Alex, take it away.
So the lowest record team is the San Jose Sharks. The Chicago Blackhawks is number 2. The Predators, the Sabres, the Kraken, the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Brewers are the 8th
Bruins.
highest.
The Bruins. Yeah.
Bruins, excuse me.
Yeah, you said, yeah. It slipped up. It sounded like Brewers, which means baseball. Anywho, so like I said, and I'm going to lay that question to you, then it's going to come back to me. If you were a top 5 overall draft pick, those top 8 with those 8 teams, what team would you be the most excited to be drafted by and wear the sweater? We don't need you to pull an Eric Lindros and wear the Quebec Nordique sweater, but which one do you think has the most upside that, and you'd be the most excited to represent that team?
I'm gonna go with the Seattle Kraken. They entered the season with high hopes. They're a new team, but they looked good early on. They had some blunders in midseason that tanked their playoff chances, but they are the brightest future team on this list of the 8 eliminated teams because they have a young team with a young ownership that knows what they're doing in Seattle and with a fan base that has a team they can root for. And even though they had a struggle season this year, no one can beat the Golden Knights. They go all the way. First go. That's impossible. But the Kraken have a great team and a great chance, and I feel like a lot of young talents will be drawn to it because they are a fast-moving offense and a great atmosphere in that stadium, which is a fantastic stadium to watch hockey in.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That the Seattle Kraken, the fan base is exciting. Is they are excited for to have some type of indoor sport in their city. Ever since the Supersonics left, obviously they had the Mariners and the Seahawks, but having the Seattle Kraken in there, the fan base is electric there. And not only that, but the uniforms rock solid. One thing, yeah, they're damn good. Um, but yeah, I do like your answer, but I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to say I would like to be on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but with the Flyers, um, I think the things that held the Flyers back the most, the biggest one was coaching. That was the biggest one. Like I said, Tortorella's shtick got toxic, and I think it was definitely definitely a demoralizing thing, especially for the players. I think they definitely wanted him gone. Um, because it was like he was abrasive live during the game. It was like watching the Jim Mora interview, live in action. We're doing diddly poo out there. We have no offense. We have no defense. We suck. That type of thing. And I'm like, this was last season. But even so, it still applies. It's like, how do you rally your team like that? When when you're absolutely demeaning and and debasing them like that. They don't want to fight for you. They want you gone as fast as they can. Um, it works for it works for small doses, but there's only so much a player can take, especially young goaltenders like Samuel Urson, Ivan Fedotov. Those kids, they gotta take that shit, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to take that shit forever. I think the Flyers would definitely be the team I would be the most excited to land on, because it also seems like they're like always one or two pieces away, at least the past couple seasons, from actually breaking through. And not like the Sabres, one or two pieces to break through. It's it just seems like they're more rock solid, than the Sabres, with their hopes and dreams. So, um, we're gonna get to the standings, but we're gonna do something a little bit different. Basically, I am going to omit teams below 70 points because they technically are eliminated. So I am going to start. Um, Mainly, we're going by conference because that's how this is working here. Um, Alex, I would recommend you pull up the standings in front of you because I'm going to have you cover the West Coast. All right.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the number one seed in the East is definitely going to be the Washington Capitals with 103 points, with a 47, 16, and 9 record. By the way, I am going point chronologically here. Then behind them, the Carolina Hurricanes, 92 points, 44, 24, and 4. Then the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champion, 54, 25, and 3, 91 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning right behind them, 43, 25, and 5, 91 points. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs, 43, 25, and 4, 90 points. The New Jersey Devils, your 6th seed, 38, 29, and 7, 83 points. Your teams represent currently, if the season ended today, your teams representing the wild card, the Ottawa Senators, led by Linus Ullmark. Definitely the goalie that the Bruins should have kept. 38, 29, and 5 for 81 points. The Columbus Blue Jackets are still holding on to the last vital wildcard spot. 33, 29, and 9, 75 points. But nipping at their heels are the Montreal Canadiens. 33, 30, and 9, 75 points. The New York Rangers, 34, 32, and 7, 75 points. The New York Islanders, 32, 30, and 10, 74 points. And the Detroit Red Wings, 33, 33, and 6, 72 points. Like I said, and the 4 teams that are currently eliminated, the Boston Bruins, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Philadelphia Flyers, and Buffalo Sabres. With 69, nice, 69, nice, 69, nice, and 66 points, respectively. And that's your cue.
And leading the Western Conference that has been all season long, it feels like, Winnipeg Jets, 104 points, 50, 19, and 4. Right on their heels and right close behind them, the Dallas Stars, 98 points.
What was their points?
98 points.
Winnipeg, 104, right?
104, yes.
Sorry about that. Continue.
Stars, 98 points, 47, 21, and 4. The Golden Knights, 96 points, 44, 20, and 8. The Colorado Avalanche, 93 points, 45, 26, and 3. The Kings, 89 points, 40, 22, and 9. The Edmonton Oilers with 87 points, 41, 26, and 5. The Minnesota Wild, I believe, are holding on to the last wild card spot, or one of them. Yeah, they're holding on to one of the wild card spots in the West at 87 points, 41, 27, and 5. And surprisingly, a hot team recently, the St. Louis Blues, with 87 points, 40, 28, and 7, holding on to the last wildcard spot in the West. And the team right behind them, down 6 points to them, is the Vancouver Canucks, 81 points, 34, 26, and 13. And the Flames are still somehow alive in the playoff race with 79 points at 34, 26, and 11. And we have more teams in the West that have been eliminated from playoff contention, with the Hockey Club, the Ducks, the Kraken, the Predators, the Blackhawks, and the Sharks. They are all been eliminated. They don't have points to stay alive in it. So that is the Western Conference.
Nice. Absolutely. One thing I definitely love is that playoff hockey is one of the most exciting things in sports. I mean, you can have up to, I want to say, what, 28 games played for one team. A team can play up to 28 games to win the Stanley Cup. 4-game 7 series, they have up to 28 games to play. That is a lot of hockey, especially playoff hockey, which is high intensity, type of hockey. And before we even get to it, get to our games to watch. Uh, Alex, do you have a specific playoff memory? Of, you know, watching it, watching playoff hockey, that uh, you definitely, oh, remembered the most. I was gonna say love, but it's like there are some moments that you can't erase from your memory.
Oh yeah, this is kind of not really a biased opinion, but kind of is though. I was 2018. I was a freshman new Capitals fan, watching the Capitals in the playoffs. Watching Ovechkin finally get the ring he's always wanted was a special moment, especially in Vegas. It's a brand new team. We dominated them, and we dominated the entire playoffs from there. And I cannot remember how happy I was watching the play on TV, wishing I was in that crowd in the sea of red in DC, watching Ovechkin host that trophy up in the crowd. And we had a great team back then, and I wish we could go back to that team. And I have high hopes for the team this year. But the Capitals winning the first Stanley Cup, as me being a first time watching it as a fan, was definitely a moment I've cherished for a long time. That was so long ago, and it's stuck in my memory for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely had a damn good goaltender in Braden Holt. That's all I gotta say on that. Um, but for me, um, I definitely will say it has to be I have a couple, but I'm gonna pick one specifically because if I pick the 1990 99 Buffalo Sabres Stanley Cup playoff run, it would bring up painful memories. Um, but no, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna actually talk about the 2010 Philadelphia Flyers playoff run. The main reason why I'll bring that up is because one, uh, in the beginning of the season, they started with Ray Emery. Ray Emery, of course, would go down with tardive dyskinesia, which is a degenerative hip disease that actually ended Bo Jackson's career in the NFL and almost ended his baseball career. Um, so he went down with that. Of course, Ray Emery would return to the NHL, winning a Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks later on. Um, then they Ryan Boucher, and then they claimed Michael Layton off waivers, and then they squeaked by the New York Rangers in a shootout, eliminating them, then punching their ticket. Then it was Game 5 Stanley Cup Final against not Stanley Cup Final, but Game 5 Stanley playoff game. Ian LaPerriere took that slap shot to the eye. Like, that was a scary, scary injury. And then, of course, they would lose. They would, of course, have Boucher go down with an injury. Like it was a very Cinderella-esque playoff run to the Stanley Cup Final. Of course, losing to Chicago Blackhawks in overtime, uh, in Game 6. But hey, uh, that's how games are played. Unfortunately, Cinderella stories end that quickly. I mean, Ottawa even remembers that. I mean, Craig Anderson, getting eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Pittsburgh Penguins on an overtime shot. While his wife was battling cancer, that just hurt. Anywho, so now let's get to our games of the week. Uh, so yeah, a lot of games on the line. We have the Canadiens facing off against the Panthers, the Canucks and the Jets, the Sabres, Capitals, the Blackhawks facing off against the Storm and Mormons, the Senators facing the Penguins, the Islanders and the Hurricanes, the Maple Leafs and the Ducks, and the Sharks and the Kings. And on Monday, we have the Wild and the Devils, the Predators and the Flyers, the Flames and Avalanche, Stars and Kraken. Alex, you know the rules. Pick two games you're watching tomorrow and the game on Monday.
I have an interesting one early tomorrow, the 1 o'clock game, the first game up on slate. The Canadians and the Panthers. The Canadians, even though the Blues did win tonight, they are fighting desperately to fall back into the playoff picture. They need to win as many games as possible. The Panthers are in that second spot in the conference. They'll be playing, I believe, the Lightning in the playoffs that started today. So the Canadians are playing with fire, fierce, and energy tomorrow. They are playing for everything they have, and that is going to the playoffs and joining the many other Canadian teams in the playoffs this year. And the Panthers are just trying to play spoiler to the Canadians, trying to make the playoffs this year. It's going to be a crazy weekend of games as, like we mentioned, the standings, there are a lot of teams crawling for the playoffs. The Canadians was one of them, so I'll be closely monitoring that game tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
And then my other game is going to be the Islanders and the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes have a playoff spot basically locked up by now. They are in the top percentile to make the playoffs. The Islanders are one of four teams that are crawling and desperately getting into that desperate need to make the playoffs. And this is a fun team to watch. The Islanders have a good team. They have a good goalie, and they have a good area of winning columns to get in the playoffs. And with the season winding down to the last week or two, the Islanders need to do everything they can in their power. Just like the Canadians and Hurricanes are kind of just playing spoiler once again and kind of just cruising into the playoffs because they don't really need to do anything. They're already in the playoffs. They have enough points to get in. So another game that's really spoiler against a team that is just desperately and begging to other teams to lose as many games as possible so they can get into that last spot.
All right. Your Monday night game.
Monday night game. There we go. My Monday night game, even though the Kraken have been eliminated from contention, the Stars are still trying to clinch a playoff berth. I mean, they can have a chance tonight, but if everything spoils wrong for them tonight, they have a chance tomorrow to get in. The Stars need to keep winning games. They're not going to jump the Jets. The Jets have too many points in the playoffs this year. But the Stars need to keep going. They need to be powerful. They did not need to lose to a team like the Kraken who's eliminated. It's nothing to play for. They're just hoping to get a top 5 pick in the lottery this year. The Stars need to win this game and try to submit themselves as a playoff threat, beating these teams that have nothing to play for, like the Kraken. And hopefully the Stars can do it because I'm rooting for them to clinch tonight. But if they can't, then this is a much more important game for them tomorrow for everything that's on the line for them.
And as for me, I'm going to take a really sharp look at the Sabres and Capitals. Only because I'm surprised we forgot to mention this. Alex Ovechkin is still chasing Gretzky. He's running out of games, and what perfect way to get back on track is to score against the Sabres and score in convincing fashion. And also, why not the Senators and the Penguins? The Penguins have a chance to play spoiler once again against the Ottawa Senators, so this ought to be interesting as well. Especially considering that Sidney Crosby is also on pace to break a Gretzky record, and that is most consecutive seasons with a point a game average. And as for my Monday night game, I am going with the Wild and the Devils. This is potentially a Stanley Cup final matchup in the making, especially Marc-Andre Fleury's last Stanley Cup final if it happens. So this ought to be interesting. And speaking of interesting, the Social Sports Pad Podcast Network would like to remind you that this episode of Biscuits and Penalties is brought to you by Sleeves. Sleeves.com is not only Cobra's, but our go-to for compression wear like sleeves, tights, balaclava ski masks, and other accessories as well, like compression shirts. They also have shorts, And they also, because it's baseball season, they have headbands and pendants. So you definitely rock that drip when you're on the field. Sleeves are definitely one of the drippiest compression wear, and they have other apparel as well, but they're very drippy wear and impress when you're out on any field, court, or bowling alley in my case. But if you want to give them a shot, use our affiliate link in the bio wherever you get your podcasts. Show the channel some love. That is Sleeps, SLEEFS.com. Like I said, that's it for our episode of Biscuits and Penalties. Reminder that we have other podcasts as well that cover other sports. Down our NASCAR and racing podcast, the Social Slam podcast, which is our wrestling podcast, which will be happening tomorrow. Be on the listen for that. We also have the Dirt Turf podcast. We just had an episode last week. The Hard Count, our football podcast. And we have another podcast waiting in the wings. So be on the listen for that this upcoming season. Check us out on other platforms as well. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and other places where you can get your podcasts. Of course, thanks to our affiliates like Sleeves.com and our others that are in the bio, wherever you listen to us on podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So, don't forget to check us out. I'm Cobra and Alex. We got to step off the ice. That's calling. See you next time, sports fans. We love you.